The Blue Jays continue making moves as they have made some more moves as it pertains to the opening day roster. We're going to break down those updates. They have big implications going forward. We'll also have some updates following today's game as one player continues to shine. Also, a major new update from John Schneider on Dalton Varsho and his opening day availability. So a ton of things to go over today, but before we get into it, if you're a part of the percentage who aren't subscribed to the channel, this is the place to be for daily Jays content. You guys, support has been unbelievable. Opening day is a few days away now, so make sure to hit that subscribe button if you're enjoying the daily content. Ladies and gentlemen, a ton to go over today. We got a huge news dump this morning, and then, of course, the Jays played today. We saw Max Scherzer as well, we have an update on. This is going to be a loaded video, so stay tuned for it all. But let's start with the big piece of news that dropped this morning, and it is the Blue Jays have told Davis Schneider and Tyler Heineman that they've made the team, said John Schneider, and Dalton Varsho will start the season on the injured list. And this is a pretty big development here, multiple big developments, really. Now, they've decided who their starting catcher, or their backup catcher, sorry, is going to be come opening day, and that is, of course, Tyler Heineman. But they also decided that their starting center fielder is what I meant, in Dalton Varsho, is not going to be on the opening day roster, which creates a huge ripple down effect for the impact that this is going to have going forward. And of course, Davis Schneider made the team. And it's not very surprising that Davis made the team because the Jays obviously clearly value Davis Schneider very, very much. They love him as a person. They love his bat, even though he's coming off of a season that was really disappointing, hitting sub 200. That being said, though, Davis Schneider made the team, and Tyler Heineman also made the team, which means Christian Bethancourt now, who some fans were hoping was going to make the team because he has that one big tool, which is, of course, his power, and he's hit way better at the major league level than Tyler Heineman ever has. But they chose Tyler Heineman. So this one is interesting. And the club is still working through the rest of its roster spots. Players in the running include Addison Barger, Nathan Lucas, Miles Straw, Alan Roden, and Stuart Baroa. I can't imagine a world where Stuart Baroa actually makes it out of the spring training. I just don't see a world where that happens. However, this has big implications now because we're starting to figure out who is making it and who isn't. Joey Loperfido, of course, going down. I assume tomorrow or Monday we're going to have big updates as it pertains to the other roster spots that are going to be filled. And it's really between Nathan Lucas, Miles Straw, and Alan Roden. Now, Alan Roden, I can't imagine, is going to be the Jays' opening day center fielder. I don't think his defense is quite good enough for that. He can play a corner outfield spot, but maybe if they want to go full offense. I think it's between Nathan Lucas and Miles Straw for opening day center field, especially now, which we'll dive into in a minute, as it pertains to, of course, Dalton Varsho. Dalton Varsho's not going to be able to start center field on opening day, so it's going to be between, and he's not even going to be DHing, so it's going to be between Nathan Lucas and Miles Straw here when it comes to actually opening day center field. And things start to get very interesting now because Alan Roden, of course, has still, made the cut, but boy, oh boy, have things started to become very interesting. You see this here from Joshua. So unless Roden makes the team, it looks like Wagner as the DH to start and probably Lucas to center field. I guess the other bench players are Barger and Straw. And this seems to be the biggest indicator thus far because by Dalton Varsho being on the IL to start the season rather than DH, that opens a spot to where Lucas and Miles Straw can both, in theory, make the team. And the question now becomes, and in theory, you can also have Addison Barger. So many moves are going to happen, but Alan Roden is still the biggest question mark, which we'll dive into in a little bit. Let me know down below what your thoughts are on these two moves as it pertains to Schneider and Heineman. Makes sense. Nothing too surprising here. Tyler Heineman was a bit iffy. The Jays love Tyler Heineman. He's been around for a while. They re-sign him every chance they get. And I still think that it's probably Nathan Lucas going to be starting opening day center field. I would probably prefer Miles Straw maybe, but at the end of the day, I think they're both going to make the team out of camp and see who plays better. And then once Dalton Varsho finishes his IL stint, which is going to be probably not the minimum according to these reports, it's going to be a little bit longer. I think they're aiming for an mid-April return or something like that, late April for Dalton Varsho. So it's a pretty hefty IL stint as it pertains to, again, it's nothing serious necessarily. And we thought he was going to be ramping up sooner and later, but a little bit of a backlog on that. And it's an unfortunate update, especially regarding Dalton Varsho. I was hoping he was going to break camp with the team, even if it was going to be DH. And a lot of fans thought that Dalton Varsho was going to be a DH to start the season. And because he's been so good in spring, and he even appeared in this afternoon's game. So interesting. They're playing it safe. And at the end of the day, it is a little bit unfortunate that Dalton Varsho is going to start the season on the IL. But Davis Schneider also made the team, who had a very good camp. And as you start to look at the lineup now, things are starting to get updated. You have to assume that Davis Schneider, I have to also assume that Addison Barger is going to find a way to sneak on the team. I could see a world where opening day against Zach Eflin, you have Will Wagner leading off against the righty, and he's going to be the DH on opening day. I'm pretty confident in that now. And then Nathan Lucas projects now from Fangraphs as the opening day center fielder, and they have a lineup of Bichette, Vladdy, Santander, Springer, Jimenez, Kirk, Wagner, Clement, Nathan Lucas. Not the best lineup in the world, especially with Nathan Lucas and no Dalton Varsho. He really helps stretch the lineup down there. But at the same time, I like Will Wagner. He's going to make the team. But you have Davis Schneider, Addison Barger, and in theory, Miles Straw. So it's very interesting to see what they do there. Also, a quick update, final update on Dalton Varsho. A minimum IL stint is unlikely, but the Jays are hopeful that Varsho will be activated sometime in April. And Dalton Varsho will begin the season on the IL, and he'll be in Toronto for opening day to receive his Gold Glove, and then we'll return to Dunedin. So, bunch of updates. It's very unfortunate that he starts the season on the IL, but at the end of the day, things are fluid here, and hopefully he'll be back sooner than later. But speaking of Max Scherzer and the Jays, who won the Grapefruit League today, which is pretty exciting at the end of the day, pretty exciting. But at the same time, the regular season is just around the corner. He, after his outing, you see here, Max Scherzer looked very good in 4 shutout innings. He had 4 shutout innings today, topped out at 94.7. He looked electric. He was pleased with his outing, but is unsure of what it means for his next steps with his thumb. As for recovering, I have no idea. Just have to see how it goes as much as I can with ice and pills, and we'll see how it feels. I know how much damage I did to it today. Tomorrow, I'll know how much damage. So we'll have an update video on Max Scherzer for you guys tomorrow, because at this juncture, he looked fantastic. And if he can somehow manage this, that's going to be the big thing going forward, because he looked fantastic. Watching him play in games as a Blue Jay in a Blue Jay uniform is fantastic. But again, the regular season is now just a few days away. So tomorrow's update is going to be huge as it pertains to what we assume is going to be more roster moves, but also what Max Scherzer is going to look like going forward, because the starting rotation looks a lot better with Max Scherzer in there than a guy like Yariel Rodriguez at this point. So ton of fluid pieces, a ton of movement right now happening with this team. We're going to keep you up to date all the way through, but let me know down below what your thoughts are on that. And one final thing, as the Jays won the Grapefruit League, they also had another fantastic game from Alan Roden, who has increased his average to 440, a 1,300 plus OPS. It's going to be, and I discussed in this video about how, assuming Alan Roden doesn't make the team, that's what everybody assumes. He has played so well that it's almost at the point where you need to not necessarily force him onto the team, but he needs to make this team. He makes the team better. Everyone's job is on the line, and we're going to have a video covering this soon as well. He needs to make the team. And let me know down below what your thoughts are on specifically Alan Roden. Another fantastic game from him. And we see all these tweets about, Nathan Lucas, Miles Straw. Pick one of Lucas or Miles Straw and then have Alan Roden getting regular at-bats. Whether, I don't even care if it's a DH, put him in the corner outfield, put him in, try him in center field. Do whatever it takes to get Alan Roden out there, because he's the one who should make the team. Obviously, they probably are going to start him in AAA just because of the optics and getting him regular reps and a ton of money that Miles Straw is making. You'd rather him in the big leagues. Pick one of Lucas and Miles Straw and then have Alan Roden on the team. Because by Dalton Varsho starting the season on the IL, that now opens up a spot for, in theory, Nathan Lucas and Miles Straw. But it should open up a spot for Alan Roden. But let me know down below what your thoughts are. A ton of updates. Congratulations to the Blue Jays for winning the Grapefruit League. But I'm more focused on the regular season, which starts in a few days. Have to take care of business. Have to get things done. And we're going to keep you up to date all the way through. So make sure to hit that subscribe button.